Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. My name is Shemin, and I am a channeling tarot reader. So what that means is before I do each of my piles for my pick-a piles, I do a little connection mantra to connect to your energy and drop into the reading headspace. And then I also say a mantra at the end to close out the session and disconnect from your energy. So I would appreciate it if you stuck around for both of those because it kind of helps with the ritual of all of this. And it's kind of fun to play along with stuff like that sometimes. So I have 4 different piles with 4 different crystals for these for this today, and the spread that I'm using is going to be about transition. So what transition are you currently going through in your life, and kind of what advice does Spirit and your higher self have to help guide you through this transition that you are going through. So go ahead and pick from these intuitively. I'll hold each of the crystals up to the camera so you can see them a little bit better, but I won't be talking about them until after you pick your pile. If you're new to pick a piles, you are more than welcome to pick more than just one pile. Because these are for a lot of different people, some of your messages may be mixed in throughout a couple of different piles, so use your intuition to tell what is meant for you and what is meant for somebody else. So if you want to stick around for the crystal selection, I'm going to do that now. If not, you can go ahead and pick your pile. So this is crystal option number 1. This is a moss agate stone with a little bit of tree agate sprinkled in there. For pile 2, I've got a Caribbean blue calcite. For pile 3, I have a Labradorite palm stone. And for pile 4, I have an Indigo Gabbro, also known as Mystic Merlinite. All right, if you need more time to make your selection, you can go ahead and pause the video here. I'm going to go ahead and move on and start with pile number 1. Welcome, pile 1. Let's go ahead and start by taking a deep breath in together, and then I'll do my connection mantra. So in through the nose and out through the mouth. I'm stepping aside, I'm connecting to my higher self, which is connecting to you, to your higher self, all of your benevolent beings, spirit guides, and entourage on the other side of the veil. Any messages that need to come through will come through as I remind myself that I am just the messenger. You guys picked the moss and tree agate, little like flat tablet stone. So moss agate and tree agate are almost the same stone, but moss agate is like the green with the clear agate sections in it, and then tree agate has the white on it. Moss agate was a super popular stone a couple of years ago, and it was even a really popular like alternative engagement ring stone. So we had a lot of people come into the store and ask for it when I worked at a crystal store. I like the tree agate a lot personally, but a lot of people would just ask for the moss agate, and they kind of got hung up on like, you know, even if it would have the clear sections, if we labeled it as tree agate, they'd be like, no, it's like, I want just the full moss agate. So for some people who pick this pile, you could be a little hung up on certain details about certain things. But you know, that's just a little personal thing from that little tidbit of the story. The general nature of moss agate is that it's a really good stone for promoting personal growth. It's also really good to put with your plants. If you put the intention into it to make your plants grow better, it'll help your plants grow better. And it's just a really pretty stone too. It has a lot of just kind of like earth grounding planty energy in general. And I know I love moss. I love hiking, looking at moss on trails, you know, who doesn't? So there we go. That's the moss agate stone. That's kind of like your guys' vibe for pile 1. I'm going to go ahead and put this here. So let's look at your first oracle card. So this one is Pearl of Sorrow. Taking responsibility for your experiences empowers you. You are going to resolve an issue through spiritual inspiration and higher guidance. You will rise up in full connection to your spirit and access a wealth of divine treasure. That which has brought darkness into your world shall submit to the light and be transformed. Have courage and commit to your awakening, for you are a precious being and can go far on the spiritual path this lifetime. And Sharo is a Tibetan word meaning to arise or manifest and shine with radiant spiritual light. Sharo is the outcome of a sacred alchemy. It is the manifestation of the pearl beyond price, created in the depths of the ocean. Hidden away in a clamshell, away from prying eyes, this pearl symbolizes a beautiful blessing of unexpected grace. It began when an irritant caused the formation of a luminescent coating. The healing response to that initial intrusion resulted in an organic creation of inestimable beauty, value, and uniqueness, so this pearl can be a sacred catalyst. So I feel like for a lot of you guys who picked pile 1 here, I feel like you are going through a situation that is maybe a slightly difficult transition, since this is a reading about transitions. I feel like you're going through one that may feel a little bit more difficult, or it's kind of got something that feels like it's never quite right, or there's something that's always quite nagging you, but because you're kind of so committed to following through with this evolutionary and transformative process, it's like you keep turning it around and you keep adding a little bit more insight, a little bit more spiritual wisdom, and a little bit more divine grace to yourself. And it's like every single time you do that, it just creates more and more beauty around this thing until you finally have, at the end of this transition, this great big shining beautiful pearl to show for all of your efforts. So I really do feel like you guys are going through just like a really like catalytic transformation. I almost said cataclysmic, but it's not that. Catalytic. So it's this thing is just like a little bit expedited maybe, or maybe involving something that is going to pick up the pace very quickly or is already at a very quick pace. But particularly, it's like, this reminds me even of the saying, like, the pearl of wisdom. So it's like, I really do feel like that's kind of what this experience kind of is for you, is something that it's like you're gaining wisdom and insight and just like information and energy kind of like around this, I don't know, particular thing that you're going through. And I really do think this is going to be like awesome for you guys, pile 1. So let's go ahead and put out your tarot cards. So this card here is how to best release the energy of the past of what you're trying to transition out of. And so this one here is the 6 of Cups in reverse. So when this card is upright, it's all about people or situations from the past kind of resurfacing for us to get to experience a little bit of that childlike joy and innocence yet again. With it being in reverse, it's kind of saying that the best way to move on from this situation is to kind of fully leave this behind. So if this is a relationship, this is fully moving on from this relationship and not getting back together with this person if they do offer to do that, or if you have the feeling of wanting to do that. For other people, personally for me, I'm going through like a job situation. This would be for me like mentally just releasing all of that energy of the past, moving into this next step into the future. And for other people too, it could even be kind of like helping to release, past wounds or traumas. I'm sure we all have had not so great childhoods, or it's like we all go through experiences and trauma at some point in our life, and a lot of times those do happen when we're younger and have a little bit more of an impact. And so I feel like on the spiritual or healing journey, we're always doing that inner child work or going back to the past and healing the things that have happened to us. And I feel like Spirit is definitely saying that a little bit of that is in order. And even if you are trying to release past situations, you can even still do a little bit of that inner child healing, because there may be some ties to things that you experienced as a child as well. So let's go ahead and get a clarifying card. Oh my gosh, what? We got the 6 of Cups in reverse again. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Wow, super cool. So yeah, confirmation for that. That is all it has to say about that, is like leave them and leave them behind. So definitely just like do make sure you are doing a lot of releasing emotionally too, just because the Suit of Cups is all about the emotional state. In particular, I'm feeling called to say you can do a cord cutting ceremony if that's a thing that you do, or if you're unfamiliar with that, it's like you can have, there's a lot of different ways to do it. There's a really popular one going around right now on TikTok with like candles and stuff. But a really simple way to do this is just by taking a piece of string, like a sewing thread, or, just kind of anything that resembles a cord, and you can tie it around something or just kind of hold it between two hands, and kind of envision it like connecting yourself to this other person or situation, and then cut the string between you two. When I'm doing this by myself and I don't have someone else to help me, I'll kind of like hold it between my toes and then my other hand so I can cut it. There's this one that became really popular on TikTok lately that involves like wrapping some cord around some candles. One of my like witchy friends helped me do one of those, and I thought it was really good. And what is the best piece of advice for you here is the Judgment card upright. So the Judgment card is a major arcana card, and it is the second to last one in the Fool's Journey, which is what we call the major arcana when you lay them all out in order. And to me, the Judgment is kind of like this final ending to a chapter, whereas the World card that comes after it is more of kind of like this epilogue energy of like, you know, it's like in like the fairy tales, it's like the knight would go and slay the dragon, Judgment, and then he would get to go home and have like his happily ever after and like get a house and, you know, a castle or like, you know, his treasure and whatever. And that would be like the World card, like everything kind of closing up and coming full circle. So with the Judgment card here being what is the most empowering thing you can do for you right now, it is saying to just kind of make sure that the ending is final. So it's like if you do end up walking away from someone, or as you're going through this transition, make sure that you transition fully into this new state of being or this new thing that you're doing by kind of just making sure this previous cycle is closed out. So let me go ahead and get a clarifying card, see if there's anything else it wants me to say. Ooh, cool. Oh yeah, we've got the Death card. So another just kind of major ending and like ego death card. In particular, one of the little things that I like to call out here is the like strength woman, you know, like the woman on the strength card who's here. And she's very just like defeated. Where when you get to the Death card, it's kind of like you have to relinquish a little bit of your kind of like almost like self a little bit, obviously, because you're like some part of you is dying in order for this new part of you to emerge and become, you know, this new version of you that you're trying to become. It's like, you know, that old version of you isn't it. So you have to change some things about, you know, this current version of you to get to that future version of you. And when the strength card is there, it's like you give up a little bit on something that you were holding on to and really fighting for. And in that transition, that allows, I think, for this closing of the cycle and that ego death that I think you're ultimately trying to get to, even if you may not call it an ego death. I know different people have different connotations with that, but it is just kind of like stepping into a new state of being for you personally, however major or mild that may be for you. We go on multiple different fool's journeys throughout our lifetime, throughout our days, throughout all the little things that we do. So some of them are a little more intense and some of them are a little bit more mild. A little bit spicy and a little bit more mild. Got to get your salsa how you like it. Okay. So with the Four of Wands being about the immediate future, the Four of Wands, when it's upright, is about a sense of like union, celebration, a kind of like coming together of two opposing forces. With it being in reverse, it could be that you're meant to go on this next stage of your journey by yourself, or maybe without a certain support network that you've had before. Or for some people with the Six of Cups in reverse, it could be about the kind of closing out of a relationship and kind of making that a little bit more final. Let's go ahead and get a clarifying card for this. Yeah, and we have the Ten of Wands upright. The Ten of Wands is about having kind of like a lot on your plate. And so for some people, it could be that this relationship was just a lot on your plate. And so kind of by releasing this, it kind of allows you to lessen some of the load that you've been carrying. There's the Six of Cups here. It's interesting. It's like Six of Cups in reverse, Four of Wands in reverse, 6 + 4 = 10. And we've got that 10 of Wands here. So that's an interesting correlation. For those of you who are going through divorce or are considering divorce or ending the relationship that you are in, I do think this is a sign from the universe that that would be a thing that would help to lighten your load, and that by closing out this previous cycle, that may be the thing that helps with this transition that you have been trying to achieve. For other people who that is not on their radar, you know, that is okay. You do not have to worry about that. Again, different messages are for different people. So I like to give that little bit of a disclaimer here and there for a little bit more of the like, you know, some people need a little bit more of a push for the decisions that they are, you know, ultimately coming to themselves. But for other people who are going through more of a, you know, just kind of like personal transition here, with the Four of Wands being in reverse, it could be that there's not going to be a kind of like immediate celebration or sense of like, like, I don't know, like coming together almost. And like a marriage can even be in like a business standpoint. So it's like a business like agreement or contract, or even like really close friendships or things like that too. There's multiple different ways to read this outside of romantic relationships. But either way, I think by closing out this cycle or that connection with that person here, I do think that will be the thing that enables you to feel like you're carrying a lot less, and that can also aid in this transition that you're trying to go through. I know for me personally as a reader, I had to quit my old kind of like toxic job lately, and oh my God, that was amazing for me. It has been stressful at times for this transition, but it definitely is one that I'm very glad that I made. And especially if you find that this thing is just a constant burden to you, you think about it almost every single day, and it is just so heavily weighing on your mind and making you just feel a little bit physically exhausted and not having a good time, I do think that is a thing to consider. So the very last card that we have here is the High Priestess upright. So another major arcana. You've got 2 major arcana cards upright here. I guess 3 even with the Death card. And this card here is like, what is the kind of purpose of this situation, and how does that relate to your ultimate like purpose and soul path that's unfolding? And so for this, you have the High Priestess card upright. So I think a lot of this situation here kind of required you to use your intuition. And so by listening to your intuition and kind of following along with what it has to say, even if that is a slightly more difficult situation to go through, I think that's kind of what your higher self is trying to teach you. And usually when you follow along with your intuition and you go to where it leads you, a lot of times really good things work out. Or even if it doesn't, you kind of learn something along the way. So let me go ahead and pull one more clarifying card for that. And interesting, you've got the Judgment card in reverse. So it's interesting that there's this Judgment card here and then this Judgment card in reverse here with the High Priestess card. So it's like, again, major arcanas, and it's like, oh, that's such an interesting correlation. So it's almost like this thing that they're leading you to, I think will be a thing that lasts a lot longer for you with that Judgment being in reverse. So it's like not the closing of this cycle, or it's like there's not going to be an ending kind of for this immediate thing that it leads you into. So if this is a career thing for certain people, it could be leading you into your next, just like the career you end up staying in for the rest of your career lifespan. For other people, this could be leading you towards your ultimate end-all be-all relationship. And for other people, this could even be leading you to a new, just healthier version of the self too, where it's like certain things won't feel like, maybe if you're working on having more, or not more, working on having less self-judgment, this could be by going through this transition and difficult situation, you'll notice that you have a lot less judgment just kind of in your environment. So maybe you judge yourself a lot less too. So let's go ahead and get this last oracle card. We've got Blessing of the Kata Bestowed. So I love this card. I've gotten it before I even get the book out to read from it. This is a really good sign for a new relationship, or again, if you're already in an existing relationship, this is a really good sign for just like the health and longevity of that relationship. For other people, again, whatever this new thing that you're transitioning into is, it is going to be one that is full of so many blessings in store for you, particularly because this first card here was all about this sense of like spiritual growth that you're going through. I really do feel like the universe is going to reward you for acquiring that insight and wisdom, and it's like, oh my God, so many blessings are on your way. You are just going to have such a happy transition at the end of this. But let me go ahead and read that one with the italics. This one is, in your heart, a desire for union grows, an impulse to move deeper into love's embrace. As you open your heart, I pour forth my healing balm and my blessing. It is never too late for love. It is never too late for joy. It is never too late for connection. As my blessing vests in your heart, a path will open up for you, leading you into love's expansive landscape. You too shall be as enchanted in love as I am, cherished and adored, surrendered in love. Love's blessing and presence finds you now. You are worthy of such blessing and shall be safe in the joy of its embrace. And it's interesting that the Pearl of Sharo was a Tibetan thing, because the kata is also a Tibetan thing. So in the Tibetan tradition, the white silk scarf known as the kata is a positive symbol that augurs new relationships with blessing for good fortune. It is a symbol of devotion and is also a visual reminder of divine blessing granted for a successful transition into a new chapter of your life, in whatever way that manifests, including through a new or deepened relationship. So again, any transition you're going through, so many blessings from the divine for you right now. The oracle of blessing of the kata bestowed is your kata from the Divine Mother, Kuan Yin. This is the Kuan Yin Oracle deck. It is her acknowledgement of good intention and goodwill, of divine presence in new relationships, and is an auspicious gift for new beginnings. These blessings are very special, and this oracle is a vessel carrying that blessing to you now. And so there is a little bit more to this particular entry, so I'm going to put that here if you want to pause and read those for yourself. The healing processes that Elena puts in her books are phenomenal, so I highly recommend you do that if you feel called to it. All right, thank you guys so much again, pile number 1, for watching this. These 3 decks are currently available on my website, and I am working on getting the Kuan Yin Oracle available as well. All of those will be linked down below. I also offer personal readings on there, Reiki sessions, and some handmade little magical energetic items that I make as well, and those will all be listed down below. So I'm going to go ahead and do my closing mantra, and then I'll move on to pile number 2. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath in and out together. Thank you so much, pile 1. I am now disconnecting from you, all your spirit guides, benevolent beings, spirit, and entourage on the other side of the veil, as I send you all back with love and reconnect to my own higher self, spirit, spirit guides, and team, settle on down into the physical, and close out the reading. And so it is. Thank you guys so much again. Love you. Hello, welcome pile 2 to your reading. You guys picked the Caribbean Blue Calcite stone. So this is a very soothing and calming stone, as most bluish, tealish stones are. And calcite in particular is a really good energetic and meridian cleanser. And I bought this piece because it looks like a little bar of soap. So I use this kind of energetically as like a soothing energy kind of like cleanser. I know there's other things you can use Caribbean Blue Calcite for, but that's what I use it for and this particular piece for. So it could be for the transition that you are currently trying to go through, or that you are already currently going through. It is one that is about kind of keeping your energy a little bit more safe and protected, or maybe just stepping into an environment where you feel just a little bit more at peace and soothed in general. And maybe it's one that has a little bit less anxiety, if that is a thing that you struggle with. So that's your crystal. I'm going to go ahead and put that one there. And let's see your first oracle card. Ooh. So you guys got Yeshi Sogal 333. So this was actually a card I pulled not too long ago on another pick a card, so I'll link that one here, but I won't tell you which pile it's in. So if you pick it, that would be really cool and synchronistic for you, and you may even have another message meant in that reading. So let me go ahead and read that one from the book. So Yeshi Sogyal. You shall overcome all obstacles. Success is imminent, so stay connected to your path no matter what, and continue to apply yourself. Allow your spiritual path to support you in all areas of your life. Live by your spiritual beliefs. Seek out the support of your spiritual brothers and sisters for help when needed, but also trust that you are intimately and directly connected to the powerful divine light within. There can be a dramatic healing breakthrough when you rely upon your spiritual connection. Spiritual teachings from Bhutan hold that the great Indian master Padmasambhava was called to Bhutan from Tibet to subdue demons that were causing difficulties for the people of the Paro Valley. He flew from Tibet to Bhutan on the back of a supernatural tigress, landing at the cave high up on the cliffs of Bhutan. He spent the next 3 years, 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days meditating and performing rituals to subdue the demons of the land, liberating Bhutan from terrors into peace. This one here in particular has a lot of kind of like strength and protector vibes to it to me. So along with this kind of sense of spiritual cleansing and like protection that I feel like you're going through, I feel like this is something that is going to help you step a little bit more into your power too. Just as that monk came in and, you know, through his process, you know, like helped to rid the demons of the land before him, it could be that you too are also acting a little bit as a sense of spiritual cleansing for a particular area. Maybe it's like helping your friends heal, maybe it's like making things better in the workplace, maybe it's healing family trauma and stuff like that. But I feel like it's like through this work that you do, I feel like there's going to be a slight transmutation of energy and healing that goes along with it. So let's go ahead and get your tarot cards. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. You have the Sun card. I love the Sun card and the Star card. Those are two of my all-time favorite cards in the deck. I feel like it just has such fun, bright energy to it. So this particular position is for how can you best leave the past energy or situation behind you. And the Sun card is all about a full embrace of self-expression. It is like shining so brightly and being so authentically yourself that you can't help but to just glow a little bit. Where you know when someone is talking about something they're super passionate about and they just kind of light up a little bit and it's like you get happy and excited because they're so happy and excited. That's kind of like what this is to me. So it's like just by being you and letting the things that move you and being led along by those things. So let's go ahead and get a clarifying card, which I feel like is this one. And this one is the King of Cups. So it kind of came out reversed, but it also kind of flew out of the deck. So I'm going to read this kind of both ways for you guys. The King of Cups is all about a full, it's like full mastery of the emotional state. So this is being able to kind of sit with your emotions and feeling what's arising, what your emotions are trying to tell you without getting swept away with them. So it's like listening to them and working with them rather than letting your emotions control you. And so I feel like that's a really good thing to keep in mind as you are embodying this sense of self-expression, is that, you know, you still have the ability to say no, and, you know, like it just because you want to do something, but let's say it's something that's a little bit harmful, like it's just like a bad habit or something coming up, just because you have that feeling doesn't mean you have to follow through with that thing. Again, it is up to you to kind of judge and like, again, work with your emotions. So if your mind is saying that you should do something else instead, that's also a part of that mastery and process and sense of self-expression, because you're honoring all the parts of yourself and then kind of deeming which parts are, you know, which wants are a little bit more important and desirable. Like, is our desire to be healthy more important, or is our desire to eat that whole cake a little bit more important? Which, totally victim of that. Grocery store cakes are one of my weaknesses. So, you know, just use your best intuition for whatever the situation is. It may or may not be more serious than cake. So, and this particular position for the spread is what is the most kind of like empowering thing you can do for you right now to help aid in this transition that you're going through. And you have the Two of Swords. So the Two of Swords is all about making a decision, but it's like using your intuition and kind of like, so you see how this woman has a blindfold on her face? It's like she has these two directions that her mind is telling her she can choose between, but she doesn't really get to see necessarily what each option holds in its particularities. She has to rely on her intuition, which is symbolized by this crescent moon here, in order to make that decision and move forward with what she thinks is best. The next card after this is the Three of Swords, which is about heartbreak. So kind of no matter which decision you choose, they will have their own set of challenges and things that do disappoint us about the situation, but we still can't let those future disappointments stop us from making our current decision that we are going through. So let me pull a clarifying card for that. All right, and you have the Eight of Wands upright. So the Eight of Wands to me is kind of about like a very quick, fast-paced, almost like domino effect energy, where it's like once you do make a decision, I think a lot of other things are going to fall in line and happen rather quickly right afterwards. So that could even be a reason why your higher self may be like, I don't know, or not your higher self, but it's like your 3D self can kind of sense the rapidness approaching of this decision. And so it could be you're kind of holding off on it. You know, for me, I procrastinate a little bit when it feels like things are going to be a little too intense or heavy or whatever. So that could be kind of a thing that you are doing as well. It's just kind of like, you feel this internal just like, oh, I don't know if I'm quite ready yet. But your higher self is just wanting you to make that choice, you know, intuitively whenever it feels right and best for you to do so. The next card that we have here is what do you need to know the most about your immediate future now? So after making this decision, even with all of this quickness here, kind of the main thing that your higher self wants you to know is to like hermit up a little bit. So take a lot of time with you and your own internal energy to make sure that you always have a good sight on this internal guiding light. So this little star here in the lantern is the star from the star card. So it's kind of like this guiding light as you're moving through the darker cards like the Tower and Death and, you know, just like those more difficult ones. And so it's like with that one being there, it's like, you know, when you can hold on to this, like the reason why you're doing this, your ultimate sense of purpose behind why you want to go through this transition and why this is ultimately important to you. It's like that's the thing that will allow you to make this decision and follow through with all of the things that are going to come afterwards. Because I do think you are working towards your ultimate purpose. You know, you are moving towards something that is a little bit greater, a little bit grander, and something that you kind of chose to do before you incarnate. You know, it's like one of those little things where it's like, this is why you chose to play the game, you know, the life game that we're all playing, was to do this really cool, fun thing that your higher self is ever so gently, sometimes firmly, trying to guide you towards. So let's get this clarifying card. Ooh, yay, you got the moon card. Okay, so that one did a little funky thing in my hand, so I just decided to go ahead and pull that one. So the moon card is all about transition. So pile 1 got the death card. This is actually hidden in the death card too. And it's interesting. So you have the sun, the star, and the lantern, and the moon here. So you have all 3 of the celestial bodies, which I love seeing these together, particularly because all 3 of those, you know, again, referencing that star in the Hermit Lantern, which is the number 17 in the tarot deck. You've got 17, 18, and 19. So all 3 of these in a row talk about this transition out of like this dark night of the soul, where you have this little glimmer of hope. And then by going through this transitional period where it's like, you know, in the Tower card that comes before the star, it's like this tower is crumbling. And then after you move through that, 2 new towers get built up in its place. So it's like going through this transition, you are going to have some really awesome like foundations being set for you that kind of provide for you in more avenues than what it is that you are leaving behind, you know, from before this transition. And then after the moon comes the sun, which is that full self-expression of the self. So it's almost like by embodying this pure sense of self-expression now, that'll just help aid with this transition, because again, with the moon energy, it's like you're transitioning from the nighttime with the star card into the daytime with the sun card. So it's moving something from the subconscious to the actual, like, you know, conscious, and like, you know, embodying that as much as you can now will only help with that in the future. So, all right, the very last card that we have here is the 7 of Pentacles in reverse. So for this, it is what is the bigger picture of kind of like your ultimate purpose, or like, you know, why is it that your soul decided for you to go through this particular transition in the particular way that you're going through it? Like, what's kind of like the lesson that you're trying to learn? And so you've got the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, which is interesting. The 7 of Pentacles, when it's upright, to me is about kind of like progress almost, or it's like seeing how things, ooh, all right, you guys are getting a lot of jumpers today. Interesting. Yeah, I usually don't, I don't know, I usually always shuffle and cut my cards, so that's like kind of wild. I don't know, definitely you guys have like some exciting energy. Like, it's been a little fun to read for you. I've been having to like, maybe I shouldn't have, but like toning back a little bit of a sense of humor. But it's interesting that you have 2 like odd numbered pentacles in reverse, particularly with this 5 of Pentacles in reverse being the clarifying card. So the 5 of Pentacles in reverse is about, or it's like when the 5 of Pentacles is upright, it's about like a time of lack or loss or financial issues, physical health issues, things like that. It's like the number 5 in numerology is represented by Gevurah on the Kabbalah or the Tree of Life, and that Sephiro represents severity, or that's the direct translation of Gevurah is severity. So it's like severity in the physical realm. So it's like just a stressful situation that does inspire transition, but like, oh my God, is it stressful? With it being in reverse here, I do think you are coming out of a very stressful situation, maybe one that was a little bit financially strenuous, maybe one that was a little not so great on your physical health. Sometimes those can even go hand in hand together too. With the Seven of Pentacles being in reverse with it, it's kind of saying that it's like there's something about this sense of development that couldn't be seen. Again, kind of similar a little bit to pile 1 with like the High Priestess in reverse that was at the end here. But to me, this is almost like more of a... It's like the High Priestess has this kind of sense of guidance moving forward, where it's like the Seven of Pentacles in reverse is about kind of like not being able to see what's growing or not being able to see what's happening. So it's like, again, with this kind of like making a choice, very quick things happening and this transition here, I really do feel like things may take off a little bit quicker than you realize. And so it's like the final outcome of this is like you can't even see how big things are going to get for you or what this is really going to even turn into. And I feel like sometimes our higher self doesn't tell us these things. Oh my gosh, sorry. I just noticed there's the death card on the bottom of the deck here, so you can see those moon towers here that are hinted at. Okay. But yeah, you really can't see what this is going to transition into. And sometimes focusing so much on just trying to work in the like physical 3D of a situation isn't necessarily the thing that we need to do, because if you look, the 2 Pentacles cards at the end here are both in reverse, and all of the other cards are in the Major Arcana, Sword, Wand, and Cup. So literally all of the other elements. So it's like, rather than focusing so much on the 3D things, try to focus more on kind of like your emotional state of being, your spiritual sense of accomplishment. And particularly with this Hermit card here, it's like, again, taking this time to go inward and really just becoming personal with yourself and kind of like your own soul's desires and wants and what it is that you ultimately want to do before the kind of wounds of the ego can step into place. I think it's like the more you focus on that rather than the financial or physical outcome of this thing, I think the better time you're going to have. And yeah, so let's go ahead and do your last oracle card, which is Her Joy Renders the Impossible Task Possible. And so before I even read the card, I really do feel like this embodies that sun energy here, where it's like the more joy you can have in the self, the more like true self-love, where it's like loving yourself enough to not be afraid to be yourself, which, that can be hard. You know, sometimes it's like, I feel like in order to love ourselves, it's like we try to, we can sometimes have a tendency to like shelter and protect and like hide ourselves, when real true love comes from full expression. You know, it's like when you love something, you want to talk about it, you want to show it off. So it's like you want to love and show off and showcase all of those parts of the self too. Okay, so I have a task for you. It is a sacred purpose burned in your heart, and you experience it as a desire, as the big, bold dream that you may not dare to speak aloud. You must trust me and my power, for that is greater than any doubt or fear. I have created this task, the sacred purpose, just for you. It will ask many things of you. You shall have to give up what you have been holding on to in order to open your arms to receive it. In dropping your ideas of impossibility and stepping into the joy of the journey, my beloved divine wild child, your destiny will be manifested through you rapidly, and all manner of miracles shall assist you on your way. Such fun you shall have in the process of discovering what you are capable of when your heart is open and you believe in me unconditionally. When you leap, do it with joy upon your lips as you squeal with glee, and know that even the trickiest tasks shall be made attainable through my grace. There is something you are meant to do. You've been growing towards this your entire life. All your life circumstances, lessons, and situations have been teaching you valuable skills and wisdom so that you are equipped for the tasks demanded by your divine destiny. All your life circumstances, lessons, and situations have been teaching you valuable skills and wisdoms so that you are equipped for the tasks demanded by your divine destiny. You may know clearly what those tasks are, or they may, as yet, be a mystery to you. You may not be a big picture sort of person, preferring to focus simply on accomplishing the many smaller tasks before you each day. Even without the vision, this daily disciplined approach will lead you higher and higher until you have ascended the peak for your own personal mountain, and you can see the broader picture of how all those smaller tasks have prepared you for a bigger journey of passion and purpose. So, I really do feel like you guys are working towards something awesome here for yourself. I really do think this full self-expression of the sun, again, such a joyous, victorious, celebratory energy to be in. And by staying true to yourself and really figuring out what you want that to look like for you, like what this truest version of you is, you can do a little vision board with it. I have, I don't have a printer, so I just have a printed out, I just wrote a list of all the things that I want this dream version of me to do. And it's good to just see it and meditate with it and remind yourself of the things that you're working towards from time to time, and that can even help you stick to this sense of self-expression, even if it can sometimes be hard to fully love all of our, wounded parts of the self. And not wounded too, the more personal parts of the self, I'll say. So that is what I have for you guys, pile number 2. If you liked any of these decks, except for the Kuan one, I am working on getting this one on my website, but the other 3 are currently available on there. Those are all going to be linked down below. I'm going to go ahead and do my closing mantra, pile number 2, and then we will send you off for the rest of your lovely day. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath in together and out through the mouth. Thank you so much, Pile 2, for allowing me to connect to your energy today. I'm not disconnecting from you, your spirit guides, benevolent beings, and entourage, and sending them all back with love as I reconnect to my own higher self, spirit guides, and team, settle on down into the physical, and close out the reading. And so it is. Thank you again so much, Pile 2, for watching this. I love you so, 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 so much, and I really hope you have a phenomenal rest of your day. Bye. Hello, pile 3. You guys picked the Labradorite Palm Stone. So Labradorite is a really good stone for psychic protection and magical workings. So I feel like you guys may be dealing a little bit more on the magical energy work side of things, where you kind of just work with stuff a little bit beyond the veil. And so because of that, with this next transition that you're going into, you may start incorporating a little bit more of protection into your personal practice. So whether this be just energy protection or personal protection too, where it's just kind of establishing your boundaries and making sure that people respect those so you can move through your life in a safe and comfortable way. So we're going to go ahead and put this one here. And other people may be working on their sense of psychic ability as well. So this is your intuition, your ability to sense energy, magic, Reiki, any of these wonderful things. And for the people who picked this one, I feel like there will be a general sense of deepening your spiritual path as well. So whether this be through strengthening your intuition, meditating a little bit more, doing stuff in the astral or dream space, because this is a particularly good stone for protecting against nightmares because of its astral protection status. So it protects you in the astral realm that you go to when you sleep. All around just a really awesome stone. Looks really cool too. So yeah, let's go ahead and see what this pile has in store for you. So the very first card that we have here is Perfume of Sophia. I've actually personally been having the goddess Sophia reach out to me a little bit lately. So Sophia is the goddess of wisdom. So let's go ahead and see what spiritual wisdom this card has to offer for us. You will be able to sense the best timing and approach to take, to create space for healing and resolution. Connect to your body and ground yourself in the here and now with body-friendly practices. You will find your way intuitively and instinctively, even through confusing circumstances, where one moment you are sure the answer is no, and the next moment you are sure it is yes. Give up trying to figure out the answer right now and remain open with positive but relaxed expectation that clarity shall emerge spontaneously and according to divine timing. Trust that your questions about life will be answered. Even now, you are in the process of working your way towards the answers that will bring you clarity and higher understanding. There is a kindness in how the universe delivers a message. There is a story of 3 rabbis who went into a room and saw God. One rabbi dropped dead, the other went crazy, and the third one became enlightened. It was the same room and the same divine presence, so what accounts for the different outcomes? When we are ready for knowledge, divine guidance is incredibly helpful and healing. However, we may need certain experiences to become ready. And there is as much grace in veiling a truth as in revealing it. There is a beautiful Sufi teaching that destiny is granted with compassion. There is a time to prepare for knowledge, a time to receive it, and a time to live it. There is danger in trying to force knowledge. Force is the desire to progress faster than is naturally taking place. It is a disconnection from natural rhythms, the sacred feminine, the power of knowing, and divine timing. The oracle of the perfume of Sophia asks you to trust your nose. The spiritual symbolism of the ability to smell is the capacity for discernment. In the words of Juliet in Romeo and Juliet, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. The nose knows. And so with this card, I really do feel like discernment and wisdom are going to be key factors of this transition that you're going through. So there could be something that is a little bit more intense or a little bit more nuanced that your guides are trying to have get through to you, especially because there's the part where it's like sometimes the answer is yes and sometimes the answer is no. I know as I've personally gotten deeper on my spiritual path, my intuition has played that little game with me before, where it's like sometimes I'll be at the grocery store just trying to pick something out, and all of a sudden it's just like, yes, this banana, no, not that banana. And it feels like I just have to play this game of hot and cold, and it's like sometimes I just want to buy, the banana. I don't want to have to go through all of this. And so, it could be that your higher self is, if that is a thing that's happening to you, it could be that that is a sign that your higher self is wanting to work with you a little bit deeper. And so you're going to have to start getting a little bit more nuanced with the way that it communicates to you through. All right, so let's go ahead and get these cards. All right, so I've got your first row of tarot cards here, and all upright here. You have a lot of really positive cards, with the exception of the Ten of Swords, but I think this is a really overall very positive spread. So for this wisdom, for this insight that is coming into the picture, I do think it is going to be very positive, or kind of like whatever self-work it is you're trying to do, your higher self is trying to lead you to a good place about it. So the first card that we have here is the Magician. So this particular position is about what is the most optimal way to leave this kind of past energy that you're transitioning out of behind you. And this card here is the Magician card. So some people may be getting a little bit into magic, which yay, congrats to you if you are. That is such a fun world to explore. And I kind of feel like, magic goes by so many names and so many different circles and cultures, whether it's like, Qi from Qigong, or Qigong, I guess, whether it's Qi or Reiki or, energy work or magic or, whatever it, prana, or prana or whatever it is that you want to call it. We all kind of work with this subtle, intuitive, behind the scenes energy in order to kind of like create or produce results for things. And I really do feel like your spirit guides are wanting you to delve a little bit deeper into that. So working with a particular path or practice that does resonate with you, because again, there's so many different paths, all of them are trying to lead ultimately back to the same center. So pick whatever does resonate with you, whether it be yoga, meditation, a particular branch of magic, or a particular institution or something like that, or again, even just working with a particular teacher or something, getting a little bit more into the magic of things, spending more time out in nature, and just working with the physical things that the universe left for us here to work with. I think really good things are going to start happening for you. Let's go ahead and pull a clarifying card. For magic too, I think if you watched pile 1 or you felt a call to watch pile 1 as well, pile 1 had this energy of like a cord cutting almost for pile 1, or not almost. Pile 1 had an energy of cord cutting. If you also picked pile number 1, this is also a sign to magically distance yourself from this past energy by doing a cord cutting or something similar to that. Whatever your particular practice may resonate with. All right, and we have the Ace of Cups here. So particularly as you are working with this new energy, pay particular attention to your emotions with this Ace of Cups. You can see here how it's like there's this like floating hand in the clouds that's holding this cup. That's the hand of God being there, so it's like the divine offering this thing. It's also interesting that there's all these little like yod droplets around it, which I have a video about that for the like the weird flames in the tower and the moon card that I will have linked down below. But that is the Hebrew letter for Yod, which translates to hand. So this is the hand of God that is offering this. And so, you know, our emotions really are a gift. They're a way for us to kind of listen to our soul or our inner sense of knowing. And it tries to help guide us and lead us forward on our path, which again transitions so beautifully into the next card here, which is the Two of Cups. And this is like, what is the most empowering thing that you can focus on or best piece of guidance that your guides would have for you for the current moment in time? And it's the Two of Cups, which is all about a balance of emotions, relationships, feeling in harmony. This can even be a new relationship for some people who are looking for one. And so this really is beautiful, especially after that Ace of Cups. So it's like by listening to your emotions and following them and working a little bit of magic with those things, that is the thing that is ultimately going to get you to this sense of balance and harmony and achievement and that loving relationship, whether it be with somebody else or yourself. And so let's go ahead and pull a clarifying card. With the Two of Cups, there is a little bit of that as within, so without. So it's like the greater capacity we have to love ourselves, the greater capacity we have to love others, as well as allowing others to love us in turn. And the clarifying card for this is the Four of Swords, which is about like taking some time to quiet the mind in order to receive this kind of divine gift or inspiration that is trying to enter into the picture. I also have a tarot tip video on this, which I will also link down below. They only let me link one tarot tip per video, like in the little cards, which I think is whack. Let me link more. But by taking some time to quiet the mind and sit with the thoughts that you are having as well, that will also be the thing that allows for this sense of harmony and flow in this relationship, again, whether with yourself or other people, to flow more harmoniously. Particularly with the kind of snakes there, that's reminding me a bit of like the Kundalini snakes that go up and down the spine. So it's like this merging and melding of energies that is very balanced together. So that is the most sustaining thing you can do right now. The next card that we have here is, what do you need to know the most about the immediate future? And you've got the Wheel of Fortune. I always think of the game show where it's like, Wheel of Fortune, yay, you know? So I really do feel like for some people, you have a really auspicious surprise coming into the picture for you, maybe even because of some of the magic that you've done or put out into the world. I really do feel for this, there is some grand cosmic happening in your favor. To me, the Wheel of Fortune is all about these grand cogs of the cosmic machine turning ever so wonderfully in our favor. And so I really do feel like there is going to be something big that works out for you that provides a lot of progress forward in your path. And the Wheel of Fortune is also the halfway marker in the Fool's Journey. And it comes right after the Hermit, so it's like by following our own inner light and the star, that's the thing that propels us forward into this next step of the journey. It's interesting, pile 2 actually had the Hermit card in this position, so it's interesting that we get the next card in the sequence in the same position for the next pile. So it's again transitioning into the next one. So for pile 2, it could even be that watching this reading may have even been a part of your transition going through your personal thing that you're going through. Okay. So let's see what else for the Wheel of Fortune. The Queen of Wands. So very interesting. So you see how it's like the Magician card is like holding the wand in his hand, and then it's like that Queen of Wands has the wand in her hand. It's like really interesting how it's like I said here that the focus was going to be on like the cups, and then it became, I don't know, like this sword thing, and now it's becoming this wand thing. It'd be interesting if we got like a pentacle for the last one here. But there is a lot of transition going through here, particularly With the Queen of Wands, there's this inner sense of like courage and confidence that's going to be coming and showcasing itself a little bit more. So it could be that like after you receive whatever this Wheel of Fortune gift is, you are going to just be feeling a little bit more on top of it, like a little bit more yourself, a little bit more like, yeah, things do work out in my favor. And for other people too, it could even be that like a female or, you know, AFAB, female presenting, female identifying woman is going to be the one presenting you with this gift or this offer. And it'll be somebody who is very courageous and confident and may have a little bit of spice, a little bit of fire to them. For some people who are interested in a relationship, that could also just be a good sign or marker for this relationship, is just a woman who is very empowered and passionate and all of those wonderful things. Or again, Leo, Sagittarius, or Scorpio. Scorpio? Fire sign? Yeah. All right, so the very last card that we have here is the Ten of Swords. And so this one is, what is the kind of like main point or purpose of this transition that you're going through? So it's like, as your higher self is having you go through all of this, like, what are they trying to teach you? And it's so interesting that we have the Ten of Swords, where I feel like some of you, when you heard that, your immediate reaction was like, oh no, everything's gonna go wrong. And I kind of feel like that's almost like a little bit of the joke here with your higher self, is like, there are so many good positive things in this reading, but you may have an expectation for things to always turn out the worst. So your mind could be your own worst enemy, where it's like your mind is being mean to you. So it's like, even though you have all these awesome things, it's making you feel so mentally defeated and put out all of the time. And your higher self is trying to teach you that that little voice inside of your head is wrong. And so it's going to prove it with that Wheel of Fortune. So just watch and see how this all unfolds for you. Okay. And the clarifying card is the Ace of Wands. Okay, so we didn't get a pentacle, like I said. Oh, wait, yes we did. Okay, we have a pentacle on the bottom of the deck. Cool. But it's, again, so interesting. I said the, like, wand thing here with the, like, or is it, like, you know, with the Magician holding the wand and the Queen of Wands holding her wand. And it's like that single wand that they're holding is this Ace of Wands. So Ace of Wands is all about a renewed sense of passion and drive and inspiration. It's like this fire that lights you up and wants to propel you to move forward. With this being upright here, I think, and definitely with this Ten of Swords, I think your higher self is trying to give you a renewed sense of passion and inspiration, one that just ultimately feels a little bit less self-defeating, and so you can have a little bit more confidence backing you up in your corner for what it is you want to do moving forward. So I've got that for you. And the very last oracle card here is Surrender, Sensitive Sister. Be moved by the moon. So there were some correlations here in this pile for pile 2, and particularly we got like the moon card right here in this position, and because there was another link with this Wheel of Fortune, there may be a couple of messages for you in that pile, particularly around these cards here. But let me go ahead and read this one from the book really quick. The moon in tarot is about this sense of like transition, where it's like you're transitioning from one phase of being into the next. And in particular, you go from the star card to you go from the star card to the moon card to the sun card. So you're transitioning from something being in the dark, the night, the subconscious, into it being a little bit more actualized, a little bit more conscious. Let's go ahead and see what that one has to say from the book. You know what you know, even when you don't know how you know. You know. I speak to you through that knowing, the intuition that is beyond logic, the feeling that has no physical proof as yet, the instinct to keep going, to trust yourself and take the journey before you. Even when you feel like you know too much or are too sensitive, you do not need to shut down or try to protect yourself from feeling. What will work better for you is to be open and truthful with all that you feel and resist nothing. It shall then simply flow, changing like a phase of the moon, naturally and without effort on your part. I will guide you and show you how to do this so that you will never be afraid, even the passing experience of fear itself, and you shall become surrendered into life, moved by the moon, a living embodiment of grace and motivation. And so I feel like for a lot of you guys, pile 3, I feel like one of the magical things that you could be doing is working with the moon a little bit more. I know personally, as I'm getting back into my practice a little bit more fully, that's one of the first things that I wanted to start doing, because I do think it helps kind of sync you up with the natural cycles a little bit more, because it's so, I don't know, it gives you like a new set of intentions to focus on with the different moon signs that it's like either full or waxing or waning or new or anything in as well. So definitely just like, I would say with this, it's like as long as you are honoring and paying attention to your own natural cycles and your emotions and your mental state and that kind of inner drive that's coming out as you move through this, I think things will manifest on the physical for you, since we're going through all of those elements here. And then the pentacle came out on the bottom of the deck here. Ace of Pentacles, especially with that Wheel of Fortune, there is going to be a really big, I think, financial or physical or very tangible earthly boon and blessing that is coming to you very, very soon. So thank you so much for watching this pile 3. I am so excited to hear about what this is. When this does happen for you, I would super appreciate it if you would come back and leave me a comment telling me what it was, so I and the rest of the people watching this can celebrate in that success and victory for you and send a little bit of extra magic towards it. With that, I'm going to start to close out the reading. So if you liked these 3 decks, these are all available on my website. I'm working on getting the Kuan deck on there as well. I do think this is phenomenal. There is such a big guidebook to go with it. There is so much you can do to work with it. I offer personal readings as well as Reiki sessions and other little magical things that I make on there as well. So please feel free to check that out and message me if you have any questions about anything. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and say the closing mantra now. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath in together, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Thank you so much, Pile 3, for allowing me to connect to your beautiful energies today. I'm disconnecting from you all and sending you back with love as I reconnect to my own higher self, spirit guides, and team, settle on down into the physical, and close out the reading. And so it is. Thank you so much again, Pile 3. I love you all so much, and I hope you have such a wonderful, auspicious surprise waiting for you on the other side. Take care. Mwah. Bye. Hello, welcome Pile 4. You guys picked the Indigo Gabbro or Mystic Merlinite. So this is a stone that is all about your sense of psychic ability, intuition, and working with the magic in the world around you. So for this transition that you're going through, I think you're definitely transitioning into one of working and trying to see a little bit more magic just everywhere around you. I think for you guys who picked this one, I think this is definitely, this transition that you're going through is one that's going to enable you to tap into the magic and mystery of the world around you just a little bit deeper and a little bit more fully. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath in together through the nose and out through the mouth, and then I'll say my connection mantra. I'm stepping aside, I'm connecting to my higher self, which is connecting to you, to your higher self, all of your benevolent beings, spirit guides, and entourage on the other side of the veil. Any messages that need to come through will come through as I remind myself that I am just the messenger. All right, so let's go ahead and get that first oracle card for you. So we've got Dvara Patra, which I think this is kind of like a version of the Holy Grail. So definitely very auspicious for you guys. So Dvara Patra, out of confusion, a clear and progressive pathway is opening up for you. It is an auspicious time to give generously of yourself to others, enriching the quality of your connections, expressing spiritual blessings of goodwill and encouragement from your heart. A powerful blessing is entering your world. A prayer is now being answered in a beautiful way. Spirit gives freely and generously of all good things, and the task of humanity is to learn how to receive. The key to receiving is an open, surrendered, generous, and trusting heart. The Holy Grail is a sacred chalice. It is a powerful, living, regenerative, and deeply healing symbol of hope and blessing. It will interact with each soul in its own way. For your soul, that may involve a recognition that the light is always seeking you, wanting to fill and heal and bless and protect you, to initiate you into awareness of the realms of light, beauty, and divine presence. It may remind your heart to receive that you are capable of being a channel for goodness, grace, abundance, and pure light. It may be recognized as a sign of future blessing, of something truly desired finally coming to pass. And the Sacred Grail is hope. It is blessing. It is both a portent of fulfillment and the inner means by which we connect with the loving languages of light and truly receive. In Sanskrit, patra means goblet or vessel. It is not only an object, but can be a teaching or even a sublime teacher or heavenly being with whom we can dwell. It is that which holds us in a loving way, our soft place to fall. In learning how to receive, we also learn how to be received, how to be fully beheld, which is an expression of unconditional love. When we experience being so loved, we learn how to love in such a way too. We become a true receiver, nurturer, and protector of the heart. The sacred chalice reminds us of our potential to hold, but also of the generosity of the universe in providing for us so we too can be held and received on all we need. So, and then Dvara is Sanskrit for a pathway or an opening, portal, doorway, or even a means or a method. And it was really interesting that we got the kind of like Holy Grail card here, because before I did this reading, I actually took a sip out of this chalice that one of my coven mates gave me when we first started like working together and getting her like initiated into the coven. So that was really cool. I'm going to take another sip for it. And I have a grape agate stone in here, which I also have a little bit in this grid here. I have some blue versions just because like I like the more unique ones. But grape agate is a really good stone for helping to bring together like your soul tribe essentially. So it's like the people who are a part of your life path and like those really good friends that you just share that strong soul connection with, and those other people who end up being significant. It helps to draw them a little bit closer towards you. So I don't know, that could even be a part of this transition that you're trying to go through. It's like by entering into this Holy Grail energy. So it's like, you know, the gift the universe is trying to have you, or the gift the universe is going to have you try to receive very soon in the near picture. It's like by going through this transition to teach you how to be more ready to receive, I think you'll be ready for this when it does kind of present itself to you. And if you watch pile 3 beforehand, there was the Wheel of Fortune card. And so this could also be a little bit applicable to that reading if you are here from pile 3 or feel called to go watch that after this one as well. So cheers. All right, and let's get your tarot cards. All right, so the first card that we have here is the Two of Wands in reverse, and this particular position for this spread is how can you best leave the energy of the past behind you? So what you are trying to transition out of as you are trying to learn to receive this abundance that's coming in for you a little bit better and a little bit more strongly. What's the best thing you can do? So the Two of Wands in reverse is a little bit interesting to me. So the Two of Wands, when it's upright, is about kind of picking which general direction you want to head in. Kind of with it being in reverse here, it's saying like, don't pick which general direction you want to head in because maybe the universe will be offering something that you couldn't see coming. Or if you were busy doing something else, you wouldn't be ready to receive this when it is time for it to come into the picture for you. Oh, interesting. And the clarifying card is the Death card. The Death card has come up for a couple of different readings here. And so in particular, I think it came up upright in the main part of the reading, or I think it came up most strongly in pile number 2, if I remember correctly, or pile number 1. The Death card is about a really big kind of like ego death and huge personal transition that we go through, where it's like we are essentially not even the same person on the other side of this transition because we've had to step more into our own personal power or just become a more aligned version of us. And so particularly with the with the Death card, there is the Strength card hinted at here with this woman who looks very defeated beneath him. And I feel like we only go through this kind of ego shift or, internal death, and we go through death in order to live more. There are more cards after the Death card. So, I think this can be a little scary for some people, and I felt called to just say that right now. This is not about a physical death. If you are very concerned about your physical health, do definitely get that checked out. But this is about a internal transition. This is a soul card, not a physical card. And so there's like this sense of defeatedness that comes with it, where it's like, because a way that we thought we needed to do something for so long isn't working out, it's like we have to adopt this new way of being through letting go. And so that could be with this Two of Wands here, is like Spirit is wanting you to kind of like let go of what you feel like you need to do right now so that Spirit can take the reign and help assist with this kind of bigger transition that I think you are going through. And I think recognizing that you are going through like an ego death rather than like a strength kind of like energy, which is a thing that Spirit actually told me in a different version of a transition spread I did for myself a couple of months ago when I first started getting a little more serious about my tarot journey. So I totally feel that. It's like I think personally I felt that sense of defeatedness where it's kind of just like you have to throw your hands up and be like, all right, I guess I will just do what I've always wanted to do. Like, oh man, I've always wanted to make tarot videos. Like, oh fine, I guess I'll stop trying to work a boring job and like finally do that. But it's like, it's like that's a thing that was built up and established. So it's like, it makes sense. Spirit gets it. It knows that stuff is hard. And that's why it comes in sometimes and helps lead with that transition again to get you to where your own higher self is ultimately trying to get you to go. So, okay, the next card that we have here is the Five of Cups in reverse. And so this is, what is the most empowering guidance that you would need to hear at the present moment? So as you're going through this transition, what's that little motivational speech that your higher self is going to give you? And so the Five of Cups, it's like usually when the card is upright, it's like there's 3 cups that are overturned and then 2 cups that are upright behind this person here. And so the energy is that they spilled these 3 cups and they're like focusing on the things that they lost rather than what they still have. And so they are very sad about the situation. When this card is in reverse, I feel like it's the flip of that mentality. So it's like, those 3 cups have been overturned. There has been a little bit of heartbreak, maybe a little bit of loss in some way. 3 of Cups can also signify friendship, so it could even be that there is a friend or a person who is no longer in your life. And so, with it being here, it's like in reverse, it's like the best thing that they have to focus on. And I feel like for some people, I said so much about the like ego death. For some people, there could even be a kind of personal loss that happened in the life. And again, maybe it was through an ego death or a transition, so somebody just transitioned out of your life, or you had to transition out of other people's lives. But I feel like for some people there is going to be a grander sense of loss here. But the best advice they have is to focus on those positives. So even though there has been this overturned thing that has happened, you can still rely on these 2 things that you have supporting you. So it's like your support system, your coping, healthy coping mechanisms, and ways that you process through grief and other situations. By focusing on those positives, I think that will help with this transition a little bit more. Don't neglect the negative things that have happened. I think it's like, again, choosing to have this mentality in spite of these things that have happened. But do allow yourself to process and grieve, because that is very healthy, and denying those emotions that are trying to come out naturally will only cause bigger, maybe less positive emotions to come out in the future. But let's see what other clarifying... Ooh, interesting. The Tower was on the bottom of the deck in reverse earlier, and it just did a little weird thing for me. Fool card upright with the 10 of Pentacles. So for other people, this is going to be something that does start a new just kind of like personal journey for you. Got a little bit dark there, I think, with, again, things that are a very real part of life that happen for some people. For everybody, a very real part of life. But with the Fool card and the 10 of Pentacles here, to brighten it and bring it back, I think, to that, the Holy Grail. It's interesting. It's like the Holy Grail is a cup, and then we've got the 5 of Cups here. So it could even be that it's like, well, yes, these things were being taken out of your life. And I think, again, for some people in a slightly less serious way, it's like there is going to be, you have some positive things still in the picture, and there is going to be a really awesome new thing coming in that I think maybe needed a little bit of space made for it in order for it to be a little bit more, fully received. And so with the Tower card being here, Spirit may be saying it had to be a little bit more drastic with how this thing ended, just because it was like the proper timing for this thing to work out. So if you did watch the pile 3 video right before this, I think there are going to be some correlations, especially because you have that 6 of Wands card, which is the victory card. I'm going to go ahead and put these here as that clarifying card, and we're going to move on into this one now. So what do you need to know most about the immediate future is that you are going to have a big sense of celebration and success and victory coming into the horizon for you very, very soon. So if there has been any big thing that you've been working on that is going to, I think, work out in your favor, and that could even be a part of this big spiritual gift that the universe is trying to tell you, is that maybe some things are going to work out even better than expected. And I did just feel the need to pull that card out because it stood out a little bit. And it's interesting that this one is the Six of Swords in reverse. So the Six of Wands, Six of Swords. So Six of Wands is focusing more on this sense of victory. It's interesting that we have like the Two of Wands in reverse here, which is about like kind of like picking a general direction. So there's a sense of like a journey or like a forward motion or action that goes with it. And it's in reverse. And then we have the Six of Swords, which is also about this journey and movement away from something to something else, being in reverse. So it's like you do have a Six of Wands or this victory energy that I think will be coming directly to you. This will not be something that you have to go and seek out. You have already done the hard work for this, is what I am hearing, and so universe is going to finally reward you for it. There could even be a thing for some people is like you have to stop moving around so it's like this gift can find you. But I do think there is something really, really, really awesome coming into the picture for you that came up in, again, previous readings. It also, I think, has been coming up a lot on other readings that I personally have been seeing, like on TikTok and YouTube. And it's, just all the places that I am that I look at readings. So I really do think there is this collective energy of victory in the subconscious that we may start seeing play out in a bigger scale as well. So, and on the grand scale, I hope there is a victory for Palestine as well. Feel the need to call that out right now. We're going to manifest together. manifest. And for Ukraine and Sudan and all of these other areas too. So, and this very last card here is like, what is the grand purpose of this? So by going through this transition, what is it that Spirit is trying to tell you, teach you, get your soul to learn and accept in a bigger way? And you have the Moon card, which the Moon card has also been coming up a lot. So do feel free to watch pile 1 and pile, I think 2 and 3. Just watch all the piles. But I think the Moon card came up in pile 2 and then it was like referenced in pile 3 or vice versa. I think it showed up in pile 3 actually. Sorry, after I do a lot of readings back to back to back, they all kind of blend together a little in my head. And with the channeling, it's like I kind of forget some of the details. But with the Moon card here, it's like your soul is teaching you and guiding you through this transition. So as I have talked about in the other readings, in the sequence of the major arcana cards, there is the Star card, the Moon card, and then the Sun card. So it's like you go through this transition of being in the night with just the stars guiding your way, through this moon, which, fades from the, just as the moon goes through its waxing and waning cycle, the moon is about growing from that new moon state into that full moon state until you get to that Sun card, which is the full self-expression of the self. There's a sense of timing and transition that goes through this, which is so fitting for the reading we're doing, which is about your transition that you're going through. And so with this being here, it's like Spirit is saying that it's like this is coming, this is going to happen for you, but it will take time. Time heals all wounds. I actually have a quote. I taught a Reiki class just for one of my friends because I'm still new to the attunement process, and doing that makes me a little tired currently, but I'm strengthening that skill up. It's like there is a quote that I have that I'll put on the screen here, where it's something about time does not heal all wounds, but it's about the action and intention that we put into that time that allows it to move forward. So there is a sense of action that I think, again, you have taken, but there is, because of that, this victory coming to you that just took a little bit of time to grow. It's like that seed was planted and then that other person or other situation had to water it, let it nurture into a little bit of a thing before it had fruit that it was able to share back with you. But I do think there is a big success coming into the picture for you. With that Tower card coming out again, the Tower card is the card that's right before the Star card. So it's like we have this huge shakeup and, sometimes devastation in our personal life. And it's only after that, established way of being falls away are we kind of a little bit more open to this more aligned transition and position that we're trying to fit into. Yeah, very interesting. And the last card here is the King of Swords in reverse. So King of Swords, when it's upright, is about this kind of full mastery of the mental landscape. With it being in reverse and this card being a major arcana card, sometimes the mind doesn't always know best, and you do have to trust your inner sense of knowing and intuition. The Moon card is all about this, it has references to this intuitive understanding as well as we go through these transitions, because the moon is what rules all of those psychic abilities and stuff. I also referenced in pile 3 that if you feel like working with the moon, I think this would be a really auspicious time to do it. There is a full moon happening on this Saturday as of filming this video, or Sunday, excuse me. It's Sunday morning where I am, so I'm working with it Sunday or Saturday night. But I do think it's like working with the moon will help, and maybe even connecting to a grander sense of intuition by working with the moon phases and starting to just pay a little bit more attention to Earth's natural cycles and rhythms. That can help you step out of this like very mentally led, just like mind operated way of being into one that is a little bit more intuitive and harmonious, because you guys, again, picked the magic stone. So it's like, particularly for this, to tie it back to magic, it's like, as you're doing spell work and stuff, don't always focus on the exact outcome that you want, or it's like, set an intention for what you're doing, but don't get so hung up on the details. And it's like, don't focus on the things that you're not getting or receiving, but focus on the things that it does have work out for you when those spells do have success. And again, you will have that victory be led right to you. And again, I think it can be boosted by working with the moon in a little bit more deeply of a connection. So if you've worked with the moon before with the phases, maybe try looking and working with the specific signs that it's in for the particular days, with the waxing and the waning phases more pointedly. There's always a little bit more depth we can tap into with pretty much everything. We're never capped out at our ability to learn. The universe is always fractaling more and more inward and outward from itself, and produces more things for those who have the patience to look for it. So that is that. And the very last card is your oracle, is Grace in Full Flight, which I'm going to read from the book. And particularly because this is a kind of like flying card, and with some of the other symbolism in it, if you guys have wanted to try astral projecting, or even doing like lucid dreaming, where it's like you have the potential to like fly around in your dreams and stuff, that could also be a really cool magical thing to start working with. But let's see what the book says. I have witnessed your courage and your struggles, your trust and your doubts, the joy of your triumph, and the despair and determination when success has been beyond your grasp. Still, you dream. Still, you dare. Still, you hope. How I adore that dreaming, daring, hopeful heart of yours. And now it is time for me to lift you. At the end of your efforts, when your resources are exhausted and you are without further recourse, I make my presence felt. For no matter how much will is within you to fly, no matter how ready you may be, without the breath from my lungs creating the air, no flight can happen. I gift you with the sacred breath, and now your efforts will show results. My grace is upon you, your time has come. There is a time when it is time. Your time. It is the right time for an idea to come to fruition, for something miraculous and yet tangible and concrete to happen. The oracle of Grace in Full Flight speaks to such a moment. The improbable, the impossible, is now finally coming to life. You have been learning how to let go without giving up. Perhaps through being tempered by life and initiation, learning and struggle until you have been pushed beyond your limits, physically, emotionally, or mentally. You have had to give up your control and learn to surrender. This process might have taken years, and you may enter into it again and again. For shorter periods of time, surrendering where you have not realized you have tried to assert control again, driving a project or situation forward according to your own desires rather than trusting in a greater hand guiding the way. You have learned the art of balance, of taking action that feels inspired from the heart of discipline, devotion, and commitment without trying to force an outcome. And so I feel like for pile 4 here, I think you guys would probably really benefit from this other reading that I did, which was a channeled message from Isis. I feel like there would be a very affirming message for you in there. It's not a pick a card, it's just a channeled message, but I don't know, you guys picked the more magical stone, so I think it would be a fun reading for you guys. So that is what I have for you. If you like these 3 decks here, these are all available on my website and will be linked down below. This one is the Kuan Yin Oracle. I'm working on getting this one on there, so keep checking back. It may be on there very soon. I also offer personal readings on my website, as well as Reiki sessions and other little magical goodies that I have made. So yeah, if any of that resonates with you, feel free to check that out down below. The simplest way to support me though is just by leaving a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already on this video. That really helps the channel out and gives it more opportunities to grow, which I would really appreciate. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and say my closing mantra and close out the reading. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath in together. Thank you so much, Pile 4, for allowing me to connect to you and your energies today. I'm now disconnecting from you all and sending you back with love as I reconnect to my own higher self, spirit guides, and team, settle on down into the physical, and close out the reading. And so it is. Thank you again so much, Pile number 4, for watching this today. I mean that from the absolute bottom of my heart. I love you all so much, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Take care. Bye.